national security. Brannon brings the issues of the day into clear focus through the lens of a Judeo-Christian worldview. And now, here is your host, Brannon Howe.
And welcome to the broadcast on this Tuesday night, March 31st. Uh-oh. That means tomorrow is April 1st. Thank you for alerting me to the fact, because I have to be very careful, because there's a certain person in my life that loves to play jokes on me April 1st. You're not listening, are you, Logan? There is a certain individual in my life who likes to play jokes on me on April 1st. And I don't know if it was last year, but the year before, got me. Called me up, gave me some bad news, and I 100% believed it. Started telling people what to do about the problem that was just brought to my attention. Turned out it was completely fake news, and I didn't realize what the date was. The person finally had to say, it's April Fool's. What? No, I think what she said is, what's the date today, Mr. Brannon? I'm like, I don't know. It's April 1st. So yeah, I bought it hook, line, and sinker, and that was Logan's girlfriend. She likes to call up with an April Fool's joke and see if she can get me. I don't think she got me last year, but she got me the year before. She had me on a roll. So it's a very good thing I figured out that today is the 31st, which means tomorrow is the 1st. There we go. So welcome this March 31st, 2026 to Worldview Tube. We're going to be joined tonight by Dr. Andy Woods. There's breaking news tonight that a Chicago Bulls NBA player has been let go. The videos that Logan brought to my attention seem to be a young man professing biblical values, biblical truth in the arena of sexuality and marriage. And apparently this is not acceptable to the Chicago Bulls. Well, when I heard the story, I said, we've got to get on Dr. Woods. He's a former basketball player. He's an attorney. He's a pastor. He's a commentator. Let's get on Dr. Woods. So Dr. Woods is going to be with us in just one moment. And then we're going to have on Annie Cyrus. Oh, and by the way, I want to talk about, with Dr. Woods, the Supreme Court. We got good news, as I put it in the Worldview Report tonight. The Supreme Court 8-1. And you can imagine who the one is. I mean, as soon as I saw it today, I knew who the one was. Smacking down conversion therapy, laws that ban so-called conversion thankfully. And of course, by that, they mean biblical counseling, biblical teaching, Bible counselors. We're going to ban Bible counselors. Thankfully, and we've been talking about this for years, thankfully, the Supreme Court shut that down 8-1. You'll know who the one is. We'll get to that. Then Annie Cyrus has got this out. Imagine a teenage, what is that word, Logan? Besiege. I always want to use my phonics, but it doesn't always work. Imagine image of teenage Besiege members outside the former U.S. Embassy in Tehran. This is what we talked about with her last week. What are our troops going to do if they encounter on the battlefield 12, 13, 14-year-old boys? And then I want to play a little video tonight from, as I did on radio, but I got to get Annie's perspective. Nick Fuentes says Iran is fighting for us, Americans, that the Jews want to basically run the trade and the commerce in that region, that Israel is after you and Iran is in the way. We're going to play that tonight, talk about that. What does Annie think is going to happen? What about taking the island of Karg? What about taking that island? Is that even going to be possible? What kind of preparations has Iran been making for a very long time for that encounter? So we got a lot to get to tonight. Oh, I do want to talk to Dr. Lana tonight, my last guest, on things we can do to stay healthy long-term in life. Things that we can do to stay healthy long-term in life. Now, today is apparently, Logan, do I have that right? Is today Trans Day of Visibility? Well, how interesting. Today is Trans Day of Visibility. Tomorrow's April Fool's. Maybe they should just merge the two dates. I know that the mayor of mayor of New York City, Mamdani, has put out something about that. Apparently, the Democrat mayor of Michigan, here's what she's had to say about the governor. Thank you. I'm getting tired tonight, Logan, so thank you for hanging on every word and correcting me. The governor of Michigan, listen to what she had to say.
Today is Transgender Day of Visibility, when we celebrate the strength, resilience, and contributions of our transgender family, friends, and neighbors. In Michigan, everyone deserves to be seen, respected, and valued.
Except unless you're a Christian, then we're going to try to shut down Bible counselors and teachers in Colorado and kick you off basketball teams because we can't see or hear from you. I mean, this is so one-sided. Logan, that is a woman, right? Are you sure? Are you sure that's a woman? Jeb, are you in there? Thomas? Is that a woman? I don't know. Now, she couldn't be offended by my saying that, could she? Because after all, we're supposed to celebrate this, right? I mean, it would be implying that that was a bad or negative thing. I don't know. I think, Ketanji Brown couldn't define what a woman is. I'm not so sure. I think the jury's out. Is that a woman, Logan?
But for too many trans people, we still see discrimination and policies that threaten their safety and dignity.
Safety? Who's been shooting things up all over this country from one end of the nation to the other, Logan? Some trans people, right, Logan? And we've seen a lot of trans shooters. She's worried about safety?
When I was elected in 2018, I made a promise to fight for all Michiganders, no matter who they are or who they love. And since then, we have put in the work.
Well, wait a minute. No matter who they are or who they love. Oh, after all, love is love. Yeah, that's creepy. That's creepy.
To build a state where everyone can live openly and authentically.
Openly, authentically. Of course, unless you're a Christian with biblical worldview, want to espouse your religious views. I wonder how that's going for some people in Michigan, particularly if they happen to be living in Dearborn. How's it going being a vocal Christian in Dearborn? One of those places up there's got a mayor that's, I think pretty much all of them are Muslims. How's that going? Living out openly your Christian worldview. What is she doing about it?
Fighting like hell to make sure every Michigander feels safe, secure, and supported. Today and every day, we stand with our trans neighbors because trans rights are human rights.
Trans rights are human rights. What do you say to that? What a nation of fools we become. What did she say after the Michigan synagogue shooting? She say something I'm sure is very profound, right? Yeah, I'm ready. Let her rip.
People like the person that attacked this community yesterday get fomented by rhetoric that they see online and that they see on television and they hear on the radio. It radicalizes people and it endangers our fellow Michiganders. We cannot let this continue. And so each of us has a duty to take action where and how we can.
Wait a minute. Didn't it turn out that shooter was Hezbollah? A Hezbollah guy? He's a Hezbollah guy. Attacks the Jews in the synagogue, a school of children. But what is she doing about it? What is she doing as governor to shut down the growth and the propagation and the training of these Islamists in her state? What is she doing? I think we all know Michigan has fallen to the Islamists. Just words. Let's see, what else do we got, Logan? Oh, the robots. Wait a minute. I played this on radio today, but I got to play it tonight because we got to have a little laugh. We got to have some fun. Are you guys worried that perhaps trying to free the Straits of Hormuz is somehow discriminating against the LGBT community? Watch this.
Isn't it a little bit homophobic that we're so focused on the Straits of Hormuz and not the gays of Hormuz?
Yes, I agree. Yes, for sure.
Why do you think they're willing to leave the gays of Hormuz behind?
I think it's just historically, like, you know, gays have always been very discriminated against, which is wrong on so many levels.
Even in war.
Yeah, even in war, it just takes more reform in government, obviously, and then also educating society.
Just feel like if we're gonna go in there, we can't leave the gay people behind.
Right.
I don't think we should go in there at all, but if we're going to, the gays of Hormuz, we could turn it into Fire Island.
For sure.
For sure. I love that.
Isn't it a little bit homophobic that we're so focused on the straights of Hormuz and not the gays of Hormuz?
Yes, I agree.
Yes, I agree, she says. Oh, gosh. As I said on the radio today, think about that gal being your future nurse or doctor. It's starting to make the robots look a lot more acceptable to me. I guess they could program the robots to kill you. A Memphis police officer got put on leave for cracking down too hard on the No Kings protesters. What did he do? Any video footage? Oh, well, let's track that. Back to the robots. One of our listeners sent me this. Joe sent me this today. Watch this. Here we go. Speaking of the robots, we are going to start showing a lot of robot videos around here. These are fun. Here we go.
Forgot my tools again.
Wow. Is that a gay robot, Logan? Is that robot gay? He's a little too light in the loafers, you know what I mean? He's like a little too happy. I think that one needs to go back in and get reprogrammed. I think that's a gay robot. Yeah, see, right there. That, I don't know.
Such a show off.
He's such a show off. That's a couple years old? You got to be kidding me. Wow, that's pretty advanced stuff. Well, Joe said I should see that, and now I know why. Max said it might be fake. Why do you guys think it might be fake? Okay, what makes you guys think it might be fake? I don't think it's fake. It's right off the website. Look, Boston Dynamics. Well, I don't understand why you guys are saying it could be fake. Do they have any new ones? Let's see the latest they're doing. 13 days ago. Let's see what this one does. 13 days ago.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Thorne. I'm here with Aaron Abroff and James Cuseo. We'll be discussing the new Atlas hardware design today.
I don't want to hear about your app.
Atlas.
I want to see your robots doing stuff. Let's see what this one does. Do I have to sit to a commercial? No. Oh, Logan, really? Seriously. They are real. I told you guys. Look at that. Wow. Hey, how would you guys like to see an Olympics with robots?
3, 2, 1.
Look at that. Uh-oh. Oops. Running on ice. Oop, oop, man down. Oop, oop. Oh, wow. Run, Forrest. This is obviously the learning phase. Look at that. The learning curve has definitely been improved. Now, this video was posted a month ago. Look at that. Can you imagine what these things are going to be like pretty soon when it comes to a battlefield scenario, Logan? On the battlefield? Yeah, rolling on the streets. These are the police officers. Yeah, you're exactly right. RoboCop from the 1980s. Have you even seen RoboCop, Logan? You should go watch the one from the 1980s. That was posted a month ago, Logan. Let's see if they'll make me sit through a commercial. Look at that. He's decorating the Christmas tree, Logan. Your grandparents have a television just like that, Logan. Look at that. Cheers. Wow. All right. We're going to keep sharing those with you. Those are fun, right? The robots. All right. Before we get going, let's go to Dr. Woods here with breaking news tonight. But before I do, remember, we're brought to you by you. See, I've thrown them all off tonight, Logan. Normally I go in and I plug product, then I do opening monologue and everything. Now they're thinking, oh my, I tuned in a little late thinking I would get past the commercials, but he's already into his monologue. I kind of tripped him up tonight, Logan. Keeping them off their game. WorldViewTube.com/sponsors. There you go. Dollyfood.shop. Today, Dolly this morning had Grandma's beef stew for breakfast. That's what it's called, Grandma's beef stew. She does love the turkey, the tasty turkey feast. Her favorite, though, is the lamb. She really loves the lamb. She doesn't turn her nose up at any of it. I'll tell you that right now. Neither does Pearl. Pearl loves it. Dollyfood.shop. It has a 2-year shelf life, by the way. So we've stored in some extra. So should the grid go down or there's a disruption in anything, we have enough food for the dogs. We have food for us, but we need food for the babies, for the fur babies, right? 100% human grade ingredients. You know what you had last night, Logan? I didn't tell you. That was actually Happy Howl. Just kidding. 100% human grade ingredients, no artificial preservatives, complete and balanced for all life stages, cooked in a USDA kitchen. You should check it out at dollyfood.shop. Of course, I do the Bella Grace every day with the high-end collagen. Peptides cut short, so your body actually absorbs about 95%. Cat's Claw, that's an anti-inflammatory, which I've been taking 2 of these a day to get my inflammation down for my herniated C6 and C7, which is kind of how this started because I was without that for 2 weeks due to the snowstorm and ran out right at the beginning of that ice storm here. And that's when the inflammation started, the real problem started. So you want to stay on this stuff. The collagen, the anti-inflammatory, and then the astaxanthin, which takes on the free radicals. That crosses the brain-blood barrier. We got the Numi, that's the Swish for Life. That's loaded with glutathione to detox your cells. Some studies show it may remove mercury from your brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. And then, of course, I do the Gatatana every night at dinner time. That's what I have at my dinner table every night is the Gatatana. That's the phytoplankton, and I give half a scoop to Dolly every day, every morning on her food. She gets fed in the morning and at night, but she gets the Gatatana in the morning. Of course, there's all kinds of other wonderful products there. Like, of course, there's the worldviewtalk.com, your satellite phones, your solar generators, your Starlink, bulletproof backpacks. There's so many things there, folks. You have the hats that knock down the EMF and the blankets, all kinds of stuff here, folks. You can check it out at Melissa House BG. Well, look at that EMF maternity shield. Huh, that's new. I had no idea. Well, there you go. Worldviewtalk.com, worldviewtalk.com. Look at that luxurious microbial silver lined pillowcase. Microbial silver lined pillowcase. Look at that. EMF blocking t-shirt. Wow, there's a lot on here I didn't know it was there. Worldviewtalk.com, worldviewtalk.com. Check out all the great products. Great ways to support your family with great products and support us at the same time. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. I'm going to mention this really quick. Don't forget 2 things real quick. Go to here and click on this for podcast. Did you know that we put up all of our content as audio? All of our content as audio. And I just found out this week how many people are using this. They're listening to all these through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, all kinds of stuff. Amazon Music. There you go. So you can listen to podcasts all day long to your heart's content. Check that all out. at worldviewtube.com/sponsors. And then finally, worldviewfoundation.com. We are seeing several of you actually set up automatic $10 and $20 a month contributions. I've been really hammering that I think there's a lot of you that can afford to give $10 a month, $20 a month, but you don't because you're thinking $10 or $20 a month is not going to make a big difference for a network that's got to bring in about 40 grand a month to cover their bills to shove out all this great Christian worldview programming. I'm not even going to mess with it. What's $10 going to do? And that's actually what Simulov said to me. I would support you, but I can only give $10 a month, and I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. So that's when I started really going on this campaign to say, I need you guys to come on board at $10, $20 a month, because it does make a difference. Because if 1,000 people give $10 a month, that's 10 grand. $20 a month, 1,000 of you, that's 20 grand a month. That's half what we need to bring in every month, that 40 grand. Most of our donors are small dollar donors. Now, as I've been promoting that and pushing this campaign I'm on, guess what's happening? I'm seeing people sign up for $10, $15, $20, $25 a month. So obviously my intuition was correct. I kind of got to thinking there's a lot of folks out there that can support us in a small dollar amount each month, but they aren't doing so because they think that it doesn't matter. It isn't enough. We wanted to come on up here. I was just talking about you, by the way. Everyone, well, you can go widescreen. I was just talking about you. I was talking about how much you enjoy your Happy Howl food at dollyfood.shop. Yes, you love it, don't you? Yes, you do. You do. So you're going to break into the, there you go. Have at it. Ugh, these dew claws of yours are so sharp. This is the one lab I've had that has dew claws. Look at those dew claws right there. They did not cut off her dew claws. Those are so sharp. I cannot tell you the number of times she has scratched the dickens out of me, even at night. If I'm laying on my side and she scratches my back up with those dew claws. And she just pierced me with those dew claws. That's why I bring it up. I don't know why they didn't get rid of your dew claws. I think because the breeder said that you need those to help you get up out of the ice, to get up out of the cold water onto the ice. But you're not a hunting dog. I mean, you were bred to be a hunting dog. That dog is so spoiled. She's scared of her shadow. If the wind blows too strong, she won't go outside. So that dog did not need her dew claws. I'll tell you that right now. Where was I, Logan? But a lot of people have responded to the challenge of $10, $20 a month by going to worldviewfoundation.com. So thank you. Keep that up. Keep helping. Keep supporting. We sure appreciate it. All right, we got a lot to get to tonight. Let's get to it. Joining me now is Dr. Andy Woods. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on tonight with the Supreme Court. A good decision, good news tonight. Don't get to report that very often. Did so in the Worldview Report tonight. But I want to bring on attorney, pastor, and former basketball player. He's like 7'12" or 7'11" or 9 feet tall, or I don't know. He's huge. He's a former basketball player himself because the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls, have apparently let some guy go, a guard named Jaden Ivey. So Dr. Woods can talk about all these as an attorney, a pastor, and a former basketball star. We can get a lot out of him tonight. Welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us. I think in reality, you're like, what are you, 6'7"?
Yeah. Now 7-Eleven, that's a liquor store. So don't confuse me with that.
Yeah, that's where Mohammed works, behind the counter. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. Who cares, right? Anywho, let's start out with the Bulls because, you know, I'm such a great fan of the sports. Not. But Logan says in the news today, Dad, a young man has been fired for expressing his biblical views about marriage and particularly sexuality. I'm like, what? So I said, well, we got to get Dr. Woods. He this is right in his ballpark. Here it is. Here's what this young man, what this young man posted. Here we go.
With a man.
Wait, let me refresh that, Logan. I don't know how all these pages work that are multiple videos in one screen. It kind of confuses me, but I don't want to lose anything he said here. Keep going. There it is. All right. So how do you make it go back to the beginning, Logan? Can you not?
God did not make a man to be with a man. How God did not make a girl to be with a girl. God made a man for the purpose of procreation, to have another child. How else, how can a woman bear a child with a woman? How?
And are you telling me that's what got him waived from the Bulls? He said more, but it was all along that line, criticizing the NBA for their pride events. Dr. Woods, have you been following this as closely as Logan has?
Well,
by the way, your haircut looks really nice. I like your haircut.
Thank you. That's my wife's doing.
Well,
she had
did a
me
good
go
job.
to the stylist that she goes to.
I like it.
She
Very
says,
good.
You got,
Very sharp.
she says you got to look decent for a change. But anyway, you know, I mean, what I've just been following it a little bit, but you know, here's a guy that is just stating the obvious. You know, objects fall at 32 feet per second is basically what he's saying. I mean, it's obvious 2 men can't produce a child, 2 women can't produce a child. So he's taking a stand for, you know, heterosexual monogamy as God's blueprint and standard for society. And I guess that's just too much for the Chicago Bulls. And so they end up terminating him. I think they're in a lot of legal trouble for doing so because they're violating the Civil Rights Act of 1964. You know, they're discriminating against this person on the basis of his political and religious viewpoint. And so they're clearly violating his civil rights. So all of these people that are always complaining about civil rights violations, here's an actual civil rights violation. And I think the Chicago Bulls
Where's
really
Jesse
need
Jackson when you need him? Oh, wait a minute.
Well,
he's dead. He's dead.
He's in the grave. So
I
think
knew
the
that when I said it. I just was trying to be funny, Dr. Woods. Keep going.
Okay. Well, the Chicago Bulls with their deep pockets, I mean, they pay these basketball players these outrageous salaries. You know, better think twice about what they're doing here, because I think there would be a lot of people in line, lawyers, etc., that would take this guy's case. So
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
reprehensible what's happening to him.
Here's what he had to say about it, apparently. Here we go.
They said my conduct is detrimental to the team, right? Why didn't they just say we don't agree with his stance on LGBTQ? Why didn't they say that? But how is it conduct detrimental to the team? What did I do to the team? What did I do to the players? I did nothing but practice with them, play with them, pass the ball to them, good teammate to them. Said good job, good shot. I said good job, good pass. Way to play, bro. Right? I said these things to my teammates. Was never detrimental to them. So why is it that the NBA and the Chicago Bulls say that I'm detrimental to the team? How? Because I believe in the truth. Because I know Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. How? How is my conduct detrimental to the team? Because of what I believe. Because of what the truth is.
Wow. He's very well spoken, too, and passionate, and yet measured. He would make a very good witness on the stand. I'm not an attorney. You are. But he would make a very good witness on the stand. Notice he's saying, they have said I am detrimental. Who do we have saying that, Logan? That was the statement? Okay, let me go back to the statement. There we go. The Chicago Bulls announced today the team has waived guard Jaden Ivey due to conduct, okay, there you go, detrimental to the team. Now, again, I'm not an attorney, but Dr. Woods, I would be using that to bring a lawsuit, because now you have there's defamation, and then there's liable, the print, and then the spoken word. But I would be bringing a lawsuit because now they have just defamed his character, his reputation, that he's a troublemaker. He's detrimental to a team. Aren't you damaging him personally, whether it's to go get a job and a contract with another team? Or how about if he decided he wanted to go be an announcer for a broadcast company somewhere? Well, we can't hire him. You know, the Bulls said he's detrimental when it comes to team spirit or team unity or working as a team. I'm not an attorney, but could you make these kind of cases that now you're actually defaming the guy?
Well, yeah, and you're damaging him economically, because who's going to want to hire somebody in any capacity that's detrimental to the team? Let's talk about this detrimental to the team stuff. Didn't the guy make the statements in his car by himself? I mean, that's the way I saw it. He didn't even do anything around the team. I mean, detrimental to the team would be like, I don't know, gossiping about team members, which he didn't do, being uncooperative with team members, which he didn't do, not showing up to practice, which he didn't do, not coming out of the game, as I watched one NBA player do back in the day. When the coach told him to come out, he didn't want to come out, and he stayed in the game. I mean, did he do something like that that's detrimental to the team? No, he expressed a political, better said, biblical viewpoint on his own, away from team activities. So there's nothing that's detrimental to the team. I mean, if that is detrimental to the team, then you're placing a chilling effect on all kinds of free speech that people have away from the workplace. And that's what bothers me about this, is anything you say that happens to be biblical, you can just say you can't say it because it's detrimental to the team if this goes forward.
You can do Black Lives Matter, which did one of the leaders of Black Lives Matter say, we're trained Marxists. You can kneel and wear those shirts, which have the logos of different companies on there. I don't know if the logo of the NBA is on there, but clearly this was okay. This was acceptable to do. I'll keep playing it. That's highly political. But you can't say equal speech, free speech. Really? That my view on biblical morality and sexuality is such. I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I think you've nailed it. I think this guy is going to get a big payday, right?
Yeah, and it's basically when you put up the BLM and the kneeling, taking the knee. I mean, that's what you call viewpoint content discrimination. I mean, if that kind of content there that we're watching right there on your screen is not detrimental to the team, but a fellow on his own expressing his own biblical viewpoint in his own automobile, which is what it looked like to me, is detrimental to the team, then you're applying the rules unfairly on the basis of people's viewpoint. And I think that runs directly against the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and similar pieces of legislation. And I hope this guy sues the Chicago Bulls right into the ground because of it.
What about someone like Stephen A. Miller, Logan? We have any comments by him tonight on this? Stephen A. Smith, what did I call him? Stephen A. Miller. Who is Stephen A. Miller?
He's in the Trump administration.
I think you're right.
Stephen Miller.
Oh, yeah, Stephen Miller's in the Trump administration. Thank you very much. Stephen A. Smith, do we have any comments? Because that guy likes to comment on everything, doesn't he, pretty much? So surely he said something. I'd like to see what he's had to say about this. Do we have anybody else that's come out and say anything, standing up for him or anything? Say that one more time. We got to get you a microphone in there, Logan. What did you just say?
An NFL player.
An NFL player
said that he stood by Jaden Ivey.
Said that he stood by.
They can hear me, I think.
Oh, they can hear you? Okay.
His coach was basically in a PR trained way, said that he's not. We need to make sure everyone's educated. That he's a good guy, but make sure he's educated.
Oh my word! Oh, he's got to get the facts first, right? I think he said a man and a man can't make a child. A woman and a woman can't bear a child. I think he has the facts. We got another bookmark here. Here we go. Let's play this. Here we go.
Beyond quoted some Bible verses supporting a Chicago Bulls player who got released for some comments that he made. And I just, how do you measure the line between conduct detrimental to the team, which is why the Bulls released the player in their view, and allowing a 23-year-old to, express his personal beliefs?
I think there is a fine line. I'm going to tell you, I love Travion. I love the person. He cares deeply about our team. He cares deeply about his faith. He cares deeply about his family, his wife, the people in our building. And so I want them to be able to express what they believe in their heart and in their mind, but also want to make sure that they're educated. And we want to be inclusive. We want to, everything we want to do wants to provide an environment for people to, one, feel comfortable, but also to share their personal beliefs. And then also we represent the team and then we represent the organization.
Who is that guy right there speaking, Logan? Who is that guy? He's an NFL coach, but he doesn't work for the Bulls. Oh, okay, but he says, I love Travion. Travion is his player that's made a statement backing up Jaden. Okay. We want to be inclusive, he says. I'm so sick of that word. Inclusive. You know, isn't it interesting that young man also said that, quoted the truth, did he not, about Jesus being the way? That's not inclusive, is it, Dr. Woods? That's exclusive, is it not?
Well, think about this. If this situation is not challenged, I mean, anybody possessing a biblical worldview, expressing it anywhere, publicly, I guess in church or anywhere, are they not being inclusive enough, and therefore can they be alleviated from their positions at work? I mean, what they're doing to this guy is just absolutely outrageous. He has a right to freedom of speech, just like the rest of us do. And if he's not doing something specific to damage the fluidity of the team, which obviously he's not, but outside of, you know, team grounds, team atmosphere, I should say, team workplace, expressing a perspective, and he can't do that, then you just took freedom of speech and you just threw a wet blanket over all of it for all of us.
Yep. And I'm venturing to guess that the Bulls organization is about to get a lesson on how many people of faith and how many conservatives and traditional values and free speech advocates buy tickets. I think they're about to get a lesson in economics 101 of who actually has the money to buy tickets and come to games. I think they're about to find out. What do you think?
Well, that, and it's also what they're doing is an indictment on the morality of all the Chicago Bulls players. I mean, are every single one of them homosexuals to the point where they're all upset over this tweet this guy, you know, put out? I mean, are there no heterosexuals in the whole crowd? Are there no people in that whole group that believe in traditional marriage? I mean, I think there's a lot of them that do. And to me, when he's saying he's disrupting the team atmosphere, he's slandering, really, the whole team as being a bunch of, you know, sexual perverts.
Well, maybe some of the guys on the team are going to sue because they felt like they were castigated in a way that didn't represent them.
Yeah, and this is just PC run amok.
Well, here's a coach. Who is this? Show the screen, Logan, please. Who is this dude? That's the coach, the Bulls coach? There we go.
Really, obviously, news that the organization really doesn't love to embrace today with Jaden. First of all, did you see what it was transpiring the last couple of days with him and the stuff he was posting? What was your concern level? Because it just, I mean, no one ever knows anybody. We got a brief meeting with him, but he seemed to be spiraling in my eyes. What did you see of the whole thing?
Yeah, I had not followed or seen that myself, but obviously Beth had shared with me some of the stuff that was going on, right? And we've been on this road trip. You know, I would just say this, you know, at least since I've been with the Bulls, you know, we've got people from all different backgrounds, right, you know, inside the organization. So I think the first thing is how well organized. This goes for players, I think coaches, everybody in that building. It's always been, I think, that what's been from the top, like, we're all going to work well together. You know, we're all going to basically take care of each other. We're going to accept each other. And I think we're going to be hardworking. We're going to be accountable, and we're going to be respectful, and we're going to be professional. You know, I think that's kind of what it's been. I know some of the things that we put out there. You know, I think it's a situation for him where, you know, it's on his own personal Instagram. I don't want to get into what he put out there, but certainly I hope for him, you know, he's okay. I don't know, you know, like I've had conversations with Jaden and stuff, and he's been always about rehabbing his knee and trying to get right and wanting to play. But I think organizationally, there's certain standards I think we want to have as an organization and try to live up to those each and every day.
All right. Well, he just said it's on his own personal Instagram.
Yeah, and notice the nomenclature. You know, we want to be respectable. We want to be professional. So that means if anyone in society expresses a biblical sentiment, they're not being professional, they're not being respectable. What if this guy shows up at a church or gives a check or a offering to a church that happens to hold a traditional marriage? I mean, would that mean his job is in jeopardy as well? It's a zero-sum game here. When you enthrone these behavior-based sins and you make them sound like they're civil rights, then what happens is the actual real civil rights and constitutional rights that people have, those start to shrink. And that's what we're seeing happen in our society. And this gentleman is the latest victim of it.
All right, here's another clip before I move to the Supreme Court. Here we go.
That the world can proclaim LGBTQ. Right? They proclaim Pride Month and the NBA. They proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month, to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets. Unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How is it one that how are they to say that this man is crazy?
I'm not the Jay I used to be, but the OJ is dead. I'm alive in Christ. No matter what the basketball setting is, I'm born again, the Holy Spirit. I've been saved by Jesus Christ. No matter what, how many DMPs I don't get to play, or no matter how many points I score, those things are a temporary thing.
Wow. What? I think he's encouraging a lot of people tonight. There's a lot of bad things going on in America and the world. This young man, his professed testimony tonight is encouraging a lot of people. I know it's encouraging me tonight. I bet it's encouraging you, Dr. Woods.
Yeah, here's a guy that's obviously justified by faith alone. He's obviously born again, and he's growing as a disciple. And of course, as Jesus told us to, when we enter into discipleship, to count the cost. They're not paying this guy chump change. I can guarantee you that much. He's putting a lot of his financial future, at stake here by taking this stand. And even though the Lord told us that in the world you'll have tribulation, let's not forget that Paul in the book of Acts used his rights as a Roman citizen frequently to, expand the cause of the gospel. And even though this guy has entered the call of discipleship and he's suffering because of it, that doesn't take away from the fact that he still has legal rights.
Right.
And in my view, these legal rights are being trampled on. And I hope, some of our guys like Kelly Shackelford type guys are going to get involved in this and vindicate this man.
100%. Maybe Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel, somebody. Listen to this one more clip. We just keep finding them. Here we go. Here's another one.
Glory to God. Glory to God. Blessed are those who fear the Lord. Blessed are those who are pure in heart.
Blessed are those who thirst and hunger for righteousness. Man. You are who you serve. You are who you serve, right? Doesn't everyone serve? Whether it be your mother, your children, whether it be you serve your bosses at your job.
He went on from there, but that's what we got. Wow. Man, your heart goes out to this young man tonight, Dr. Woods.
Yeah, I looked at his stats. He was a 2022 first round, drafted 5th in the first round in 2022. He was averaging 11.5 points a game. So he's obviously a heavy contributor, you know, to the Chicago
He was averaging
Bulls.
how many points per game?
11.5, according to the stats I'm reading here, which is not, you know, Michael Jordan type stats. Remember, Michael Jordan also played for the Chicago Bulls. But my point is, this guy was not a bench warmer. You know, he was a key contributor. And, you know, I just would like to know what exactly he did to disrupt the harmony of the team. I don't think he was disrupting the harmony of the team. I think he was enhancing the harmony of the team. And I think they're upset with him because he expressed a biblical point on a platform unrelated to the team. You know, to me, that's the issue.
Let's switch real quick, Dr. Woods, to the Supreme Court. Great decision today by the U.S. Supreme Court, 8-1, when it comes to conversion therapy, something we've talked about here for a lot of times, many times over the years. We were talking not too long ago about it in La Crosse, Wisconsin, in a city ordinances and state laws. And I think there's like 20 states involved in this. So this is going to have a national, national repercussions. But basically what we've been warning about, they call it conversion therapy. You know, you don't want to have a parent bring a child to the pastor or a youth pastor, or even the parents. We've seen some of the legislation written where a parent could be involved in a crime, a hate crime, by trying to convince their own child not to go along with the LGBTQ agenda or transgenderism. The way some of the legislation that we've read on the air, it could imply also parents. It didn't exclude the parents. It's anyone that does this, anyone, the language that was used, well, that would include the parents. There was nothing in there that said, oh, but not the parents. The parents may do this. So even parents, or if parents take their child, as I said, to a youth pastor or a Bible counselor, because they're struggling with confusion or sin, this is considered illegal, detrimental by the elite, by the psychiatrists, psychologists, some of them, conversion therapy. And so Colorado, let me just read from the Yahoo. Colorado on Tuesday the Supreme Court ruled on Tuesday in favor of a Colorado counselor who challenged a state law that bans, quote, conversion therapy, end quote, for minors. I think that could also mean biblical counseling. I love how they want to call it conversion therapy. Can we say what it really is? Christian counseling, biblical counseling, teaching the Bible. We want to ban the Bible when it comes to sexuality. Isn't that what we're talking about tonight? We're going to ban the Bible, ban Christians, punish parents, criminalize parents, and anyone that wants to apply the Bible to all areas of life. But particularly, we're going to start with the issue of sexuality or marriage. This fits very well with what's happening tonight to this young NBA player. But thankfully, the Supreme Court, because again, the law banned so-called conversion therapy for minors, ruling that lower courts failed to apply sufficiently rigorous First Amendment scrutiny of the case. The High Court ruled 8-1 that Colorado's law, when applied to talk therapy provided by counselor Kaylee Childs, regulates speech based on viewpoint. And I knew when I saw 8-1, I'm like, oh, yeah, I can guess who the 8-1 is. Isn't that the woman that said she doesn't know what a woman is? Can you grab that clip, please? I knew when I saw 8-1, I'm like, I don't have to wonder who the one is. We all know who it is. It's the dimwit that sits on the Supreme Court. The one that's as dumb as a box of rocks. It's got to be that contagious Brown. Her name is Ketanji Brown, I think, but I call her contagious. She has a contagious, antichrist, ungodly, heretical, dangerous worldview, in my opinion. The woman can't even define what a woman is. Watch this. You got it? You bookmarked it for me to play? All right, well, I'll play it. And then I'm going to have Dr. Woods respond while I get my blood pressure back under control. Here we go. Here she is. Contagious Brown. Here we go.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
Oh, I'm not a biologist, but she is a, what now? An expert on counseling? A psychiatrist? A psychologist? Really? Wait a minute. She's making a ruling when it comes to counseling. She couldn't define what a woman is because she's not a biologist, but now on the court, all of a sudden, what is she, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a biblical counselor? She knows how to exegete the scriptures. You know, all of a sudden, she's a professional in this area. What a dimwit. Dr. Woods?
Yeah, that's Ketanji Brown Jackson. And you're right. She was asked at her confirmation hearing, can you give the definition of a woman? And she said, I'm not a biologist. So you're right. It stands to reason that she would be the lone dissenter. Her intellect has been attacked by other members of the Supreme Court.
You mean her
honestly,
IQ? Her IQ has been attacked by the members of the court.
Her intellect and her capacity to understand legal precedent, the United States Constitution, American history, was attacked in an opinion by Amy Coney, Justice Amy Coney Barrett. There we go.
Who's not the most conservative member of the court either. But she at least said, this woman, I think she's a few fries short of a Happy Meal, right?
Right. Now let's define what conversion therapy is. Conversion therapy is 1 Corinthians 6, verses 9 through 11, where Paul lists a whole bunch of sins: fornicators, idolaters, adulterers, homosexuals, thieves, covetous, drunkards, revilers. He says they will not inherit the kingdom of God. And then he says in 1 Corinthians 6, verse 11, such as some of you were. But you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ and in the Spirit of our God. So if conversion therapy bans are in effect, then take 1 Corinthians 6, verses 9 through 11, and just tear it right out of your Bible, because that's what these people are against. They're against using the scripture to talk people out of a alternative, behavior-based, sinful lifestyle. And they're against telling people that they can change, the leopard can change his spots under the power of the Holy Spirit. And guess what? It works. I know people that used to be gay. I know people that used to be homosexuals that aren't anymore. I don't know of anybody that used to be black, because you're born black. And it's a part of you that's immutable. But transgender, homosexuality, whatever lifestyle you want to talk about, they're behavior-based, and a person can be changed under the power of the Holy Spirit. And so a conversion therapy ban is against that type of counseling. And keep in mind that there was a case recently in Malta Guy's last name is, I think, Gretch, Greech, if I'm spelling that right, pronouncing it right, where his case went all the way to the highest court, and he ultimately was vindicated. But it's very heartening that our Supreme Court, 8-1, has just said that these types of conversion therapy ban laws, like you see bubbling to the surface and always in these very blue states, like Colorado, are unconstitutional. Because it's just like you said, Brandon, it's the exact same issue that we saw with the NBA Chicago Bulls basketball player. When you take something that's a behavior-based sinful lifestyle and you elevate it to the status of a civil right, which is completely and totally illegitimate, then the actual free speech, legal rights, and constitutional rights that people have shrink. And that's what you're seeing in both of these cases. So I'm very happy the Supreme Court stepped in and did what it did today.
Now, apparently, this lady, Brown, this is what we're being told by a U.S. Representative Brandon Gill, quote, to illustrate the total absurdity of Justice Jackson, she ruled last year that states do not have the right to ban child sex changes, but ruled today that states do have the right to ban counselors from telling boys they're not girls. This woman is not a jurist. She is a political hack. She's a community organizer, okay? That's what she is, masquerading as a judge. And I'd like to know if she really passed her bar, how many times she took the test, and if she had special help to actually get a law degree. No, I'm not kidding. I want to find out if she had special help because of the color of her skin and because she is a woman, which, ironically, I'd like to find that out. I can't define what a woman is. I'm not a biologist. But I bet you if they said, hey, since you're a woman, we need to meet some quotas. Are you a woman? Oh, I don't know. I'm not a biologist. Yeah, I'm not only a woman, I'm a black woman. Sign me up. So I want to know, did she get special help to get through law school? Now, if she didn't, good for her. Look, I don't think I could get through law school. So if she really did it, good for her. But I want to know if this woman got help getting through law school and put where she is because A, she's a woman, which again, she can't even define what that is. And B, because of the background, the people group she comes from, did she get help under affirmative action because the power elite and these politically correct cultural Marxists want to install people into jobs so they can have their long march through the institutions? Was she put where she is because of her worldview, not because of her legal mind or qualifications legally, Dr. Woods?
Yeah, and we put people like this in places of influence, and we deny people like the late Judge Robert Bork, who was an absolute genius. And probably if he had gotten on the Supreme Court, would have persuaded with his intellect the rest of the members of the court into moving more in a conservative direction. I mean, the guy was just an outright genius. And, we deny people like that opportunities to be on the Supreme Court. He got borked, as we like to say.
And they almost denied a very intelligent black man, Justice Clarence Thomas, from becoming a Supreme Court member who is just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. So the attack is on people like that, but people like this, Katie, bar the door. There is no bar on the door. They just get ushered right in. So it's, we're as the prophet Isaiah says, we're elevating children to govern us, is what you have with someone like her.
Wow. Dr. Andy Woods, pastor, attorney, former basketball star, about 7'11", 7'9", 7'10", somewhere in there. Feet tall.
Well, I was a contributor, but the star part probably wasn't true. But
where did you play?
Well, I played from 7th grade all the way to my senior year in college. So
Yeah,
I
that's what I
played
meant.
at
Where'd you play in college?
college. Okay, I played at University of Redlands, which is not a Division I school, but a Division III NCAA school. But I played competitive basketball to the highest I could go. And then from there, I actually took a missionary trip with a group that was not Athletes in Action, but it was like Athletes in Action, where we played basketball all over the Philippine Islands. Filipinos love basketball, and they love tall people. And so we would attract 2,000 people at a game and give the gospel at halftime.
Wow.
So after that was over, my senior year, after my senior year in college, my basketball days were over. The Lakers weren't coming to get me.
What about the Washington Bullets? Were they calling?
The Washington Bullets? No.
You know who that is, right, Logan? Look at that. I know a team that Logan doesn't know. Now watch me get it wrong. If I remember correctly, the Washington Bullets is the team that always plays against the Harlem Globetrotters. Right, Dr. Woods?
Well, I got to check you on that. I thought the Washington Bullets got disbanded, but anyway.
Really? I thought it was the Washington Bullets. The Washington Wizards, but what was the name of the team that always played the Harlem Globetrotters?
Well, there was a Washington Bullets, but they changed the name because that hit too close to home because there was too many bullets in Washington.
But that's the team that always played the Globetrotters, right? What's the name of the team that plays the Globetrotters? Look it up.
I think that changes from game to game.
The Washington Generals. There we go. Well, look at that. I got part of it right. The Washington Generals. That's the team that always... Now, those guys were good players, and they were good sports because they would go out, and they basically were the props for the Globetrotters. You know what I'm talking about, Logan? You ever been to a Globetrotters game? I remember as a kid watching ABC Sports carry the Globetrotters. I thought they were hilarious. What was like?
Yeah, here it says that in 1997 they rebranded themselves as the Wizards.
Okay, but that's different from the Washington Generals,
right?
Are the Washington Generals still the Washington Generals?
No, that's just a fake team. As far
I
as
know
can
that's
tell.
a fake team. That's what I'm saying. I was wondering if the Washington Generals ever called you.
But the Washington Bullets was a real team.
That was a real team. All right.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know that. I just got the name wrong. I was trying to think of the Washington Generals, and I just happened to call them the Washington Bullets, and I have no idea why. Because I don't follow sports really. But are the Washington Generals even around? That's all I care about. Come on, the Globetrotters are still around. Have we gone so communist we don't even have the Globetrotters with their red, white, and blue and star uniforms anymore? Have we really fallen that far, Logan?
We had them when I was a kid.
Sure, we still have them around. You have any clips of them doing anything? The Washington Globetrotters. Where did I hear they were recently, Logan? Globetrotters. Trotters. Oh, this is compelling television tonight, folks. Oh, I know. I probably need to let him go. I was looking for a quick clip of the Washington Globetrotters, but there isn't one. Are they still wearing their red, white, and blue uniforms, Logan? Nobody knows. Well, I want to know.
It says the Washington Generals are an American basketball team who play exposition games against the Harlem Globetrotters. This team also played under several aliases in their history as the Globetrotters' perennial opponents.
Oh, yeah. They're still around, and they're still wearing their red, white, and blue. 100-year tour, folks. Look at that. They've been around a while. And they are still playing the Washington Generals, huh? They have a world tour, Logan. Find a game. Maybe we could go to a game, Logan. Oh, they're coming to Wichita Falls, Texas, the 31st. That's tonight. Oh, wait. There must be more than one team, Logan, because they're playing a game in Willington, North Carolina tonight as well. There must be two teams. Oh, that's the international, and then there's North America.
Yeah, the Generals exist primarily as part of the Harlem Globetrotters Act, effectively being stooges for the Globetrotters.
That's right. They were good sports. That's right.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking you, were you good enough to go to play for the Washington Generals? Because that's my favorite basketball team.
Well, I probably could have played for them.
Absolutely, you could have.
But nobody else.
Hey, wait a minute. What, Logan? They will be in South Haven April 12th. That's why I saw it. When we went to that rodeo, they were advertising the Globetrotters. That's why I remembered. Huh. Why don't you come to town April 12th? We'll go to see the Globetrotters together, Dr. Woods.
Let's do it.
They must have two teams, Logan, because every night they got one team in South Haven, one team in West Virginia. Tonight they got one team in Wichita Falls, one team in Willington, Delaware. North Carolina, I mean. Excuse me. Thank you. So they got two teams they're running out there. Well, they are so popular, they got to run two teams at one time. Look at that. Well, aren't you guys glad you tuned in tonight? Such great cutting-edge news. I'm glad to know the Washington Generals are still running. They're good sports. All right. We appreciate you, Dr. Woods.
Appreciate you guys. God bless you.
Attorney, doctor, PhD, master's degree, author, talk show host, husband, father, basketball player, tour guide to Israel. Am I missing anything?
Never late to dinner.
Dr. Andy Woods checking in tonight. There you go. Why are we showing the Globetrotter schedule again? I don't know. Maybe we get the Globetrotters to be a sponsor of the broadcast, Logan. Why? Why are you about to blow my mind? Huh? All right. Click on international. They got a game tonight in Reims in France. So you're telling me they've got... Oh, look. No. Okay, so they got at least three teams. Two that run the U.S. and one that runs internationally. Look at that. The question is, if you go to a game here in the U.S., in North America, are you getting if we were to go to watch them when they came to town, would we be getting the best or would we be getting the runner-ups? Because you know that one of them's got to be better than the other, right? You think they're all trained at the same level? I don't know. Because when we went to the Sound of Music recently, I thought, I wonder how many of these crews they got out there performing the Sound of Music. Is this one company here, or is this one company that actually has multiple teams out reenacting? Because that Sound of Music was sold out. It was packed to the rafters. And it was here for a week. I don't know. Crazy. People love their entertainment, don't they? All right, well, there you go. Let's take a quick break. Come back and be joined by Annie Cyrus. Annie Cyrus is going to give us an update. Aren't you glad you tuned in? Now you find out the Globetrotters, they're still around. The Washington Generals are still around. And we've just begun. We got a lot more to teach you guys tonight. We'll be right back. Go to worldviewtalk.com. Get your satellite phone like I have, because you know what? China is in on our power grid. That is a matter of proven fact. If you want to have communications with your loved ones, your family, your children, maybe your spouse travels, maybe you have a child away at college, you want communication should the grid go down. That's why you need a satellite phone, worldviewtalk.com. But look what else they have. They also have solar generators. I have one of their solar generators. I have the Delta Echo 400, a solar generator, so I can, of course, charge my satellite phone. I can run my coffee pot. I can run my whole house if I want to. All the details are there at worldviewtalk.com, or use that number, 1-866-738-3224. They have very friendly operators that will explain to you their products, but you can explain to them what it is you're desiring to acquire. How much electricity are you wanting to generate with this solar generator? Well, they'll tell you what size you need. worldviewtalk.com or 1-866-738-3224. Joining me now is Annie Cyrus to give us a quick update on all this going on in Iran. And I want to play a video I played on radio today, but I got to play it again tonight. Because as you guys remember last night with Turner, Courtney Turner, I was talking about the Delphi technique and how you brainwash people with facilitators in group meetings where you have small little group meetings and you have a facilitator that directs everybody toward a predetermined outcome, and you put down the critics with peer pressure. Well, you're the only one in the group that feels that way. You get a room of like 8, 9, 10 people in this little room. You've been in a bigger room, maybe in a general assembly, and then you break up into smaller rooms with a pre-chosen facilitator who knows what the outcome is and is trained to gear everybody toward that. And anyone that offers up dissent, well, they use ridicule. Well, you're the only one that feels that way. Have you kind of taken a survey of the room? Have you not read the room? You're the only one saying this. You're the only one that believes this way. And that's what I think many of these influencers are. As I was saying today on radio again today, I think a lot of these influencers are basically facilitators. I don't know, foreign governments paying them, the intelligence community, CIA, whoever, USAID, I don't know. But they seem more like, instead of being called influencers, a lot of them should be called facilitators. And they're pushing people toward a predetermined outcome and the narrative of the day. I want to ask Annie about that. And President Trump keeps saying we're winding this war down. Then the next thing you know, he's not winding it down. Hegseth gives a press conference and a briefing today from the Pentagon, and basically it's like, cut a deal or we're coming after you even harder. I mean, we've heard this so many times. Now, apparently, President Trump wants an off-ramp. He wants to negotiate. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder what's really going on here. But let's find out from Annie Cyrus, because I know she has some thoughts about all the troops being moved into the region and if they could really take the Karg Island. Hey, Annie, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Brandon, I feel like I've been missing out for a while.
Well, I want you to fill us in. What is going on with this administration? One day, I think they're cutting a deal, they're negotiating with someone in country, and the next day we're going to go hard, more troops. I now hear that they're moving another possibly carrier into the region. That'd be like the fourth.
Why?
I don't know.
Sorry. I shouldn't laugh. This is a serious matter, but I'm at a point that if I don't laugh and make bad jokes and be sarcastic, I'm probably going to move to an island that no one has discovered yet.
Well, I wish there was such a place, but
I'm sure there is. We just need to start.
We just
searching,
haven't discovered it yet.
We just haven't discovered it yet. Exactly. But okay. I talked about this briefly on your program last time I was on, and I said I did a Substack covering that. What we're going to see is going to sound like a lot of inconsistency, but the truth of the matter is, since we decided to drift away from Israel, or more specifically from their objective, and finally come out with our real objective, which was not mentioned until recently, it's going to seem extremely bipolar. Because our objective is impossible to reach. We're reaching for impossible, but then we have to keep face. So we keep playing the 3D chess to make our audience, being Americans, believe this game. Now, yesterday on my show, I was extremely upset. And I did say that sometimes you don't play any games when people's life are at stake, including the 11-year-old boy who was killed in an Israeli airstrike, not because Israel is killing kids, no, because his father dragged him with him to a checkpoint, putting him in a uniform, handing him a gun. At this point, what we are doing, America is doing, is making a mess out of this war. I was very specific. This war belongs to Israel. I'm not saying this is Israel's war. There's a difference. This belongs to Israel because Israel has faced the highest price when it comes to the Islamic regime of Iran. They have fought the hardest. They have studied this regime better than anyone, and they have put together a plan that we stopped last year after 12 days, and now we're manipulating that plan to our own advantage. They have put that plan together for years. So that's why I say, for anyone who might misunderstand, this belongs to Israel because they have the upper hand, they have the real intelligence, and they're not trying to conquer Middle East. I'm getting sidetracked here, but it's interesting. So many people sit here and say Israel dragged us to this war because Israel saw a land and wants to get it. That's somebody being Candace Owen and her minions. Who's attempting to take lands right now? Who's constantly saying, we're going to take your Hark Island, we're going to take your oil, we're going to take this, we're going to take that? That's not Israel. Israel's been consistent from day one. They are still going to achieve their goal, at least as of today. Now, the reason we see this back and forth is, as I said, we don't have their objective, and at the same time, we can't control them. Bibi is done. He's not giving into ceasefire. He's not giving into negotiations. So originally from that drift, we're facing what we're facing today, which is our administration can't reach their objective because it is 180 opposite of Israel's objective.
So do you think, before I play some clips, do you think they can take this island? They're talking about taking the Karg Island. Do you think they can take it or not?
They, who's they?
The
Our
US,
soldiers?
The U.S. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. No. We can't take control of Hark. We can, we walk in there, we have walked into absolute, I could say a trap, but a trap set by ourselves. No. It's not as simple as everybody thinks it is. No, you can't take Hark this way. No. Unless you the only way to take it is to wipe it off the map, pretty much. With boots on the ground with our soldiers? No.
Do you think they have been preparing for this for years? Do you think they have some surprises?
You mean the regime, IRGC? Absolutely. They started preparing for Hark in 2005 after the BAM earthquake that turned out to be underground missile facilities. When the threats started back then, not just from America, but also Europe, they started preparing. That was 2005, 20 years ago.
Do you think they have some surprises up their sleeve?
I'm sure they have plenty of surprises, yes.
Do you think we would end up with a lot of dead soldiers?
Unfortunately, yes, we will. And again, remember, this geography of Hark, I'm sorry, how do you guys say it?
We call it Karg, right, Logan? Karg?
Karg. It's Hark, but we go with Karg. The island of Karg, geography of it is a trap of its own. There is no quick way for our soldiers to get out. There is no... I don't want to give ideas, but I don't think I'm giving ideas to IRGC. They already had these ideas. But
well, let me play this video. You tell me if this is what you're trying to say. Watch this video, guys.
Okay.
Marine landing on Karg Island are reportedly nearing completion. For this operation, the United States has deployed approximately 6,000 Marines to the Middle East, along with around 1,500 paratroopers who have also arrived in the region. The attack is expected to take place in 2 phases. In the first phase, Marines will be deployed onto Karg Island using helicopters and amphibious assault ships. Their objective will be to engage Iranian forces present on the island and secure control of the area. In the second phase, paratroopers will be inserted near the mainland coastline with the help of helicopters. Their mission will be to establish positions and hold strategic ground, preventing Iranian forces on the mainland from reinforcing troops stationed on Karg Island. Through coordinated efforts between Marines and paratroopers, the operation aims to ensure full control of the island. However, Iran has also completed its defensive preparations. Both landmines and sea mines have reportedly been deployed around the island. Defensive trenches have been dug, and multiple units of man-portable air defense systems have been positioned. Camouflaged kamikaze drones designed to blend with the terrain have also been deployed. Additionally, supply lines have been strengthened to support prolonged resistance. As mentioned earlier, Karg Island is the lifeline of Iran's energy sector. Around 95% of Iran's crude oil exports pass through this single island, making it one of the most critical economic hubs of the country.
Wow. You agree with that?
I do agree with that, with few tweaks. It's not the lifeline for the Iran, it's lifeline for Islamic Republic of Iran's proxies, because that's where the money goes. That one of the definitions of Iran should never have anyone below line of poverty unless they're lazy or choose not to have money. It's because that money doesn't go to people of Iran. It doesn't go to Iran. It doesn't go for improvement of the country. It just goes for funding. And that is exactly why IRGC is protecting it. IRGC doesn't care about Iranian people or the future of Iran. They protect that island because that is their main source funding their terrorism when sanctions are applied, when Obama isn't there to send them billions of dollars. That is how they fund themselves. That's how they survive for 47 years. It's Hark Island. Another adjustment I'm going to make to his assessment, most of it very accurate. But the other part is, if supposedly we're going to drop I'm sorry, it wasn't the Marines. Who are landing in Iran to hold the line?
The Marines?
It is the Marines. Okay. So the three main questions are, how many Marines are we dropping off inside Iran, right by Zagros Mountain? Which location we can't drop them off behind Zagros Mountain. There's no way we're going to make through that. They're going to shoot us down. And I know. Third world country, they're a bunch of barbaric. They don't have equipment, but I'm sorry, they proved us wrong.
But that's what I was saying with you like 2 weeks ago, that those mountains are kind of a natural fortress for them.
Yes, but the exact location that is connection to Khark is where I was saying it's absolutely the highest. Now, as you get more into the north and south side, they're a lot easier to deal with. But the location that is the only way for them to hold the line for our Marines inside Khark is where we have to drop them off behind Zagros. I'm sorry, I love our soldiers, I really do, but not even our 25-star general that doesn't exist have the training to get through Zagros and survive. So they have to hold the line behind Zagros. That means they're exposing to themselves into only God knows how many soldiers. Furthermore, you have the local militias in that area that are on our RGC payroll. So that line they're counting on, not going to hold long. And again, they have no way out. What are they going to do? Jump in the water and swim to the ocean, to the island? That's why I call it a trap. Just leave. Again, I'm no president. I'm not Pete Hegseth. I'm sure they know much better than I do, but leave the idea of conquering Kharg Island alone. Just don't do it. I don't like doing this, but as Galibov said earlier today, sometimes you verbalize your dreams into news reports and then make yourself look pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm. Here is.
I will agree with him in this statement.
Okay. I want to show some mountains. Zagros, Zagros, right?
Yes, Zagros is the one they're going to have to be behind. That's the mountain. Yes, Zagros.
All right, here we go, like this. That's what the land looks like, right?
Yeah, yes, but what you're looking at is from the side that we can't get to. The border side is even rougher, if that makes sense. There you go. This is the other side. This is the, backside. And again, I understand we have lots of training, but we're not locals. We do not. And by the way, there are also tunnels in that area that has been built many years ago, decades ago, for cover for the IRGC and the military of Iran, that we are not aware of those tunnels. Now, I'm going to say something. It's not going to be pleasant, but I'm going to say something. The only scenario I can think of that this plan is going to work, well, not to work, but somehow have a hope of succeeding, is if we are now directly working with MEK, because MEK is the only group of people. That's how they sold us to Saddam Hussein, by being aware of all the tunnels and all the underground ways inside Iran. If we're working with MEK, if MEK is yet again, because remember, MEK was on U.S. military payroll while being listed as a terrorist group inside Iraq. But that's history. We might be repeating history. We might be working with MEK to give maps and directions to our soldiers, to our Marines. When they land behind Zagros, they might have the map of those tunnels to get through Zagros or know where a fight is coming from. That would be again, I'm not saying that's going to be successful. I'm just saying that is my only possible thinking of this administration, thinking they stand a chance by doing it this way. Is MEK giving them maps?
But when those troops show up, You've already stated last week, these could be the young 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids they're facing who are put out there as the first line to absolutely throw these U.S. Marines, into
off their game,
a moral dilemma.
Exactly. And that's what I meant by local militias that are on IRGC payroll. They're not going to be men in uniform who trained. They're going to be very young, either kids or very young men that our Marines are going to spot immediately that this is the first time they're touching a weapon. Now, again, going back to last conversation we had, what are our Marines going to do? Doubt that the kid's going to shoot, or are they going to shoot the kid to get through that tunnel?
Let's transition. Well, I guess we're going to find out soon enough. I don't know when, but.
No, I don't look forward to. We got to back down from this path. Even again, first of all, we have established who trusts MEK. Look how that worked out. But fine, you want to trust MEK, that's fine, do that. But again, number one, when MEK was cooperating with Saddam Hussein, it was 6 months after they left Iran. They were up to moment. And MEK will claim whatever they need to claim right now to stay in radar and possibly get power in Iran. But do we even know if MEK's information is up to date? Do we even know all of those maps are gonna carry over, or are they gonna walk into a bigger trap? Like, just don't. I know we're gonna. I'm not looking forward to the day when I have to join you on your show to discuss the issues.
What's the timeline? If you had to guess, what's the timeline we're looking at?
With certain corners of this, I'll say never. A reason, again, remember, we are looking for ceasefire. We're looking for a deal. The only reason we don't have it is because Israel's not giving in. By the way, I'm glad they're not. Side note, if anybody thinks I'm criticizing Israel, no, good for them for not giving up. But if I have to go with bipolar reactions we have seen so far, 2 weeks.
So 2 weeks. We'll see.
Well, based on the movement, yes, 2 weeks.
Okay. Let's go to another video. I played this today on radio, but I think it bears playing tonight for your response, because this is again, how many Americans are being brainwashed. Here we go. Ready? It's Nick Fuentes.
Pray for Iran. Pray for the designs of the Jews to fail. That's all we could do. Iran is fighting for the whole world right now. And don't get me wrong, I'm not praying for more casualties. I want that to stop. I want the United States to be finished. But Iran right now is fighting for all of humanity. They really are. In a way, they're fighting for us. Because if Iran falls, it means Israel controls the entire Middle East. And the power that Iran exercises over the Strait, over the Red Sea, that's what Israel wants. That's what Israel's playing for. They want that power over our government. They want that power over the Gulf. They want that power over all the trade, all the commerce, all the supply chains, everything that goes through the Middle East. They want all of it. And never forget, they are a nuclear-armed intelligence superpower with a fifth column in the United States, Europe, Russia. Increasingly, they're spreading their tentacles even into Asia. If Iran can't shut them down, nobody can. Trump can't or won't. The United States can't. Russia can't. Europe can't. It is literally Iran, a country that has turned itself into a fortress for this eventuality. They're fighting for all of us. Iran is fighting for all the Goyim. Make no mistake about it. If we, the United States, were challenging Israel the way Iran is, they would be murdering us too. They'd be bombing our schools. They'd be assassinating our leaders. They'd be killing our soldiers. They'd be doing the same thing. Everyone that stands in their way, they give the Gaza treatment. Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Iran. It's not Iran they're after. Israel is after you. Iran is just in the way. Never forget that. Israel is not after Iran and the Ayatollah. Israel is after you. It's just Iran that is in the way. So say some prayers for the Islamic Republic of Iran. We don't agree on everything, but we agree on one thing. The Zionist occupation regime has to be stopped. And that's enough for me.
Oh, where does one start? So Iran is fighting.
Here's where we start. I want to know exactly the day Nick Fuentes took the Shahada.
Oh, you think he's converted?
I want to know when he took the Shahada. I don't think he's... Okay. And then on top of that, who was your coach? Because you are by far, Nick, the only American with no Iranian blood or Islamic blood or Middle Eastern blood that perfectly, and I mean flawlessly, pronounce Ayatollah. But I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No, so you think he may have converted to Islam?
There is no other possible, even if he suffered from, there's a second chance. If I could reach out to his mom to ask how many times you dropped him on his head when he was a baby. That's the second explanation. Which then with that even drives you to convert to Islam. There is no other explanation. You pray for Islamic Republic of Iran to succeed so they can kill more Iranians? So they can fund more terrorists to kill the very people you claim Israel wants to kill? Every country he just named, Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. Now, this is where it gets interesting, by the way. I don't do this, but this is too clean not to do it. I am willing to put my American passport, which is my second most precious document I own, on the table. That this man is directly coached by Iranians. Reason. So you say Iraq, but then you say Iraq, but then you say Iran. Come on. You're way too well trained.
What you mean? Where he says Iran, I say Iran. So you're saying
but when it comes to Iraq, he doesn't say Iraq. He say Iraq. He says the Iraq like you do, but Iran, he says it correctly.
So he's speaking. He's saying the word Iran. Iran. Yeah. So someone's coached
not
him.
even perfect. Like the way he just said Ayatollah. Is it again? You're either Farsi or Arabic spoken person to say that so good, Ayatollah. And to be he starts with pray for Iran, but then he is emphasized pray for Islamic Republic of Iran. That is only a Muslim would defend.
Then he says that what they're after is all the trade routes and the commerce. What he's really saying is the Jews want to run all the world with all the trade, major trade and commerce sites. That's what I gathered. This is all about the Jews running that 0.2% of the world population, and we're all going to be taken in by 0.2% of the population, right?
But then again, interesting enough, everything he's claiming is right now happening through United States of America's government, trying to take control of Hormuz, trying to take control of the oil, trying to take control of Karg, and also again, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq. Nick, those were U.S. Israel didn't attack them. U.S. went into Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria. Those were all U.S. operations.
Of course, he would say that we did this at the behest and the pressure from Israel.
I want to see the proof. Oh,
I know,
wait.
but this is what they say.
This guy doesn't do proof. This guy does gossip and whatever propaganda the Islamic regime is feeding him. So it is this. Anyone who's watching Nick Fuentes and supporting Nick Fuentes, you are the biggest part of human society problem. And this isn't even defending Israel at all.
And then he says that Israel is after you and Iran is in the way.
Funny. He's about 10 years late, because 10 years ago I told Americans that Islamic Republic of Iran is coming for you, but Israel is in the way. So 10 years late, Nick. Because the true formula is Islamic Republic it has come for us for 47 years, but Israel kept fighting for us.
But so instead of Iran being the one that we should be worried about, Israel's the one we should be worrying about. Israel's out to kill you. And he says Israel would be murdering U.S. citizens if we were somehow standing in their way.
Exactly. And by the way, if I heard correctly, he said something again that if we were treating Israel like Iran is treating Israel, they would kill us too.
That's right.
And they would take out our leader. I want to remind again, Nick and all of his audience, or those in that category of dealer's choice culture, United States of America has done that. U.S. has gone after leaders we don't like and don't play with us.
Venezuela.
Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
I will repeat, Saddam Hussein played no role in September 11 or any other. Saddam Hussein was a terrible person. However, his only crime was he stopped being our puppet.
And Gaddafi seemed to have gone mellow and quiet and backed down. But when he wanted to help lead some of those nations in that region and flip over to gold, he all of a sudden found himself being gang murdered. Remember, that's on video.
By the way, King Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, we can add him to the list too. Because yes, we could technically say, and this is an argument that is, I will say this is an emotional argument and a bias argument, I own it. But if we didn't kick him out of US in order to negotiate and get the hostages back, which we still didn't do, he was receiving treatment for his cancer in Texas and he could have survived that cancer. But no, we pulled the plug, we kicked him out of the hospital, out of the country, shipped him to Egypt, so we didn't have to deal with the problem. So we could say his death could also be because of U.S. policy. But that's all right. Let's keep blaming Israel because we don't ever want to face that our foreign policy is the worst in any other country. Let's say Israel would take out our leaders when we have genuinely, historically, with proof, done it.
Let's switch over to this by Alex Jones today. Major historic development. Researchers have discovered the source of the Prophet Muhammad's superhuman strength. According to holy Islamic writings, the Prophet Muhammad received a powerful injection from 30 black men that gave him the strength of 30 men. Is he claiming that? I don't know. What is he claiming there? Is he claiming what I think he's claiming?
He is claiming kind of what you think he's claiming, yes. He plays, of course, he gets it all wrong because that's the thing. When you try to kind of be relevant, but you don't do your homework to be relevant, that experts will catch you. He claims that it's in the Quran. It's not. It's a hadith. It is a absolutely unverified hadith. I want to say, I think only Wahhabis follow that hadith book. Not Shia or Sunni, anyways, that's besides the point. That tells a story that one night Muhammad is attacked by 30 black, not man, 30 black jinn, the evil beings. But somehow
a jinn would be like a genie coming out of a bottle. Think of the Disney film. What's the Disney film with the voice of Robin Williams, Logan? Where he pops up out of that, is it a
genie in the bottle?
Is it Aladdin? I don't know. There's one where there's a genie pops up out of a bottle. It's the voice of Robin Williams. Aladdin. It is Aladdin. Okay, so that would be what we as Americans would understand when you say jinn. That's what that is.
Yes, but in the Islamic text, jinn is a genie, but it's of Satan.
Yeah, demonic.
Demonic. So the narrative of a story goes as Muhammad is attacked one night with 30 black. Well, it's not necessarily black man. It's a jinn, and jinn is to be black, not by skin color, by definition of demonic. But some guy somewhere took this, translated it in his own way, made a video about it, and then Alex Jones played that wrong video to claim that in the Quran, Mohammed was pretty much, you know, what you think by 30.
Gang rape.
He doesn't even claim the rape. He claims the desire to gain their power.
So he did it willingly.
He did it supposedly willingly. And again, it's one of those times of who cares? Like Alex Jones, you want to really cover Mohammed? Why don't you talk about Aisha? Why don't you talk about the 800 Jews he beheaded in one day? Why not? Why not? Why not talk about Muhammad instead of some, again, unverified hadith from a minority book of Muslims that some American took and mistranslated and twisted to something else to use that? I don't know.
All of a sudden, they're all interested in talking about Islam, aren't they?
Right? Exactly. And furthermore, he somehow is interested in, quote unquote, based on his own comments on the comment section, insulting Muhammad. But yes, it's, again, there are more serious. I know you don't mind me saying, I actually commented on that post for Alex Jones. I said, you want to talk about Islam and Muhammad? Why don't you have me on your show to talk about my newly released book? You're serious about this? Let's do it.
You didn't get a response, did you?
Of course not. Of course not. I have left emails and messages for many of these people who claim to want to cover Islam and, well, they call it radical Islam. Like, if you're serious, if you claim to know the danger, why don't we have a chat? That's all right. I benefit from your platform and audience to sell more books. But isn't that your point? To educate your audience? None of them get back to me clearly. Obviously, the purpose of me doing it is to just prove to them that there are some of us out there who know they're hypocrites. They're paid as scripts.
Well,
but yeah,
here is Alexander Dugin, who's called Putin's brain, retweeting Alex Jones related to Alex Jones in a heartfelt message talks about the way forward now that it's extremely clear that President Trump has a serious cognitive problem or has been seriously compromised. And that's being retweeted, as you can see there, reposted by what is called Putin's brain, Alexander Dugin. I'm on Alexander Dugin's feed right now. And there he is we're sending out more information by Tucker Carlson. By the way, have you seen more of his comments about the Muslims? Where he's retweeting Alex Jones again. Have you seen the tweets by Dugin talking about, the Muslims fighting and winning? And I mean, have you seen this? He's gone, all pro-Muslim big time in the last few days.
Yes, didn't it start with his video of saying how he's disappointed that Muslims are soft?
They've turned like kittens. They've turned like kittens.
Yes. So from there, he started just being full. When you played the clip originally from you, said this is a great propaganda piece that want us to believe, they want us to believe Islam is losing and Muslims are soft, but we haven't seen the worst. But yeah, from there, he's pushing the propaganda very much.
And you're obviously tracking how many of these influencers in America, or should I say facilitators, that we call influencers, are aligned up with Dugin's thinking.
Yes. And I'm working on a piece. I'm hoping to release it within the next day or two, but I don't call them influencers anymore. I just call them dealers, because I have come to realize we call it brainwash at times. But honestly, I think the biggest issue America is suffering from, not by all, but by majority, is that we have allowed the dealer's choice culture to take over. And these talking heads are the dealers. And their audience are just following their new rules with no questions asked because they agree to the dealer's choice.
Here's Alexander Dugin. The Jews were the only chosen people before Jesus Christ came. The chosen people has entered in the church and become its foundation. So just standard replacement theology. But again, this is Putin's brain. Remember, we have the quote by him stating that what you need to do is create a lot of internal conflict and chaos in a country, with highlighting extremists, racist, etc. This is what's going on. And I anticipate it's going to be a hot summer as we head toward the midterms. What do you think we'll be seeing this summer? Well, we are sitting at the news desk, sweltering in July and August. What do you think we'll be reporting on?
That's a tough one. It depends on what next 2 weeks bring. I don't want to necessarily say the result of the war is going to dictate what's going to happen here, but it will. If the outcome of this war ends up with us not taking Karg, not taking Strait of Hormuz, and just coming home, all of these talking heads who've been bashing the war and going after Trump and Pete Hegseth and all of that for this never-ending war, they're gonna push their narrative even further, trying to turn more and more of Republicans, and I mean voters, not candidates, Republicans away from ballots. If we don't finish this, then, well, we're going to have to face more sleeper cells activated. We're going to have to face more of those who are screaming never-ending war, blaming, trying to rattle Americans through this war, then that's going to happen. So regardless, I agree with the hot summer comment of yours. I actually don't even think it's going to get to summer. I think we're going to have an early summer. But it will depend on where Trump is going with his undecisive actions right now.
Well, here's what we're getting tonight from this afternoon. This was posted this afternoon on the White House feed of Twitter by Marco Rubio.
Many Americans are asking, why did the United States have to attack Iran now? Well, let me explain. Iran wants to have nuclear weapons. Of that, there is zero doubt. If what they truly wanted, which is what they claim, is nuclear energy, well, they could have nuclear energy like all the other countries in the world have it. And that is, you import the fuel and you build reactors above ground. That's not what Iran has done. They build their reactors and their facilities deep in mountains, away from the public glare. And they want to enrich that material. The same equipment that they could use to enrich material for energy, they could use to quickly enrich it to weapons grade. So it is clear that they've been offered every opportunity to have a nuclear program that allows them to have energy, not weapons. And every single time they have turned it down. But why the attack now? Well, what was Iran trying to do? Iran was trying to build a conventional shield, in essence, have so many missiles, have so many drones that no one could attack them, and they were well on their way. We were on the verge of an Iran that had so many missiles and so many drones that no one could do anything about their nuclear weapons program in the future. That was an intolerable risk. Under no circumstances can a country run by radical Shia clerics with an apocalyptic vision of the future ever possess nuclear weapons. And under no circumstances can they be allowed to hide and protect that program and their ambitions behind a shield of missiles and drones that no one can do anything about. This was our last best chance to eliminate that conventional threat, that conventional shield that they were trying to build. And the president made the right decision to wipe it out now. That is the goal of this operation, to destroy their conventional missiles and their drone program so they can't hide behind it and finally have to deal with the world seriously about never, ever having nuclear weapons.
Now, again, I'm going to come back to what Dr. Peter Vincent Pry said at this desk, several years ago. He thought they already had the nuclear weapon, a nuclear weapon, maybe a couple. How many? I don't know. But I'm getting tired of hearing about how we couldn't let them obtain a nuclear weapon when all the evidence points to the fact they did have one. I don't know why these guys are so adamant to never say it's possible that they were adding so many nuclear weapons. Why do they keep acting as though they've gotten one for the first time when the evidence by many experts outside of Dr. Pry, but many others say, yeah, there's pretty good evidence they've actually had one for some time. Why do they keep telling the American people this was the first time acquiring when the evidence seems to show otherwise? If they would just be honest and say, there's some think they maybe had a nuclear weapon for 10 years. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But what we do know is they were acquiring, if they didn't have one, if they had one already or two already, we know they were trying to acquire a lot more, and they're working to perfect their delivery system. And we know that in the last 10 years, technology has increased so much. Now they have access to drones that are being made for them by China on the cheap. And when you add in the abundance of nuclear weapons being added, missiles and delivery system, drones and GPS and all that goes with that, chemical weapons potentially, their ongoing alliance with China and Russia, this was becoming too much of a situation. And frankly, we see this as really a proxy war also by Iran, by China through Iran. And we had to do what we've done. I don't know why they don't come out and just tell us more, because people like you and me and the late Dr. Pry and others, we hear these and we're like, that's not the complete story. Annie?
Agreed. And I would follow up by, okay, if this is what it was, why did we stop Israel last year? If that's the case, why did we come out last year and claim that we demolished and destroyed their facility?
And brag that you saved the life of the Ayatollah.
Exactly. None of this makes sense. So the claim is they were planning. They weren't there yet, but they were planning to build so much missiles that nobody could attack them to stop their nuclear program. 2 + 2 = anything except 4 in this sentence. Again, going back from 12 Days War to the B-2s dropping to the current war. And also, if you're so worried about this, is genuinely a question. Now, my sarcasm end. Mr. Rubio, if you're so concerned that a Shia cleric country, Iran country, who's looking to bring back Mahdi, should never have nuclear weapon, why does Pakistan have 170 plus of them? Just curiosity. Because if you want to tell me you know the ideology and you understand the threat that comes behind the government running the nukes, you should have the same concern with Pakistan. And mind you, Pakistan was created in 1946. Much newer baby country in comparison of Iran. But they achieved 170 plus nuclear weapons, not enriched uranium, not facilities, actual confirmed 170 plus nuclear weapons. Why are we not concerned about them at all? Just asking, because I think that's very relevant to the formula they're putting in front of us.
Sure it is. And what would you say then is the reason for striking Iran? Is it because Israel was going to do it and they wanted to get in on it and take some of the credit and use it as leverage to try to bring them to the good cop, bad cop, to bring them to the table for another moderate Muslim nations for the Abraham Accords? Was it they want those trade routes for IMEC, for the Ben Gurion Canal going through Gaza? I mean, what was it?
The reason we got involved was because we knew Israel was about to attack Iran. We didn't get in on it to take some of the credit, though we weren't hesitant to take all the credit. We got in to control the outcome of it. We got in to make sure Israel doesn't finish this regime and free Iran. We got in to control the outcome of this war.
Which goes to the point I was making. We got involved so we can control the negotiations. The deal.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly why we went in. There was no confirmation, intelligence. There was nothing new about the regime inside Iran that would trigger us. If we go with our own confirmations, there was no facility left. Everything was destroyed. We did it. Midnight Hammer.
Why do you think the U.S. didn't want regime change? Why, as a Persian, why do you think? I can tell you like this question. Why do you think the U.S. did not want Israel to topple the regime in Iran?
Iran, a free Iran, under proper leadership of an educated, Western raised Persian culture man, referring to someone like Crown Prince Pahlavi, would be an absolute disaster for United States of America, followed by some of the European countries. Reasons. If Iran is not at war with Israel, and it's actually acknowledging Israel as a state, And it's not funding proxies such as Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Just the amount of money we lose not selling all of this military equipment to Israel can be disastrous. Just one point. And Iran as an ally of Israel equals, we're not selling it. I mean, we make a lot of money off of Israel selling, equipment. And then we can step further. Our very strong ally, that again, we sell a lot of weapons to, Saudi Arabia. We can create a competition when it comes to oil industry around the world for Saudi Arabia. A free Iran is going to become a competition again to Saudi Arabia.
So Saudi Arabia has reason not to want a regime change.
Absolutely.
And of course, if Saudi Arabia is the one that is going to be driving the other Muslim nations for or against Abraham Accords, which is the crown jewel for so many presidents, they want that. Carter wanted it, and Clinton wanted it, Obama wanted it. They all want it. If Trump wants it, which we know he does, he needs basically to cater to Saudi Arabia, which again, all of this talk about us catering to Israel, why not the talk about us catering to Saudi Arabia?
Exactly. And that's why I played the first 7 minutes of Crown Prince Pahlavi's speech at CPAC on my show yesterday. In 7 minutes, he did a brilliant 27-minute speech, but the first 7 minutes, I played it for my audience, and I encourage everybody to watch it. And I said, now everything he's telling you from an Iranian point of view. Now look at it from American foreign policy point of view. This Astor, one of my favorite sentences, said he invites the audience to close their eyes and follow him into this image. Part of it is, can you imagine an Iran that goes from death to America to God bless America? Brian, that's disaster for U.S. as far as foreign policy and control over Middle East goes. He goes on to say, a free Iran would not need U.S. to constantly jump in middle of Middle East to mediate. And he's very correct, but you really think U.S. doesn't want to jump in and mediate? They love that. That's why Middle East is what it is. A free Iran allied with Israel means we don't have any business. The only business we will have in Middle East and the region and Central Asia would be trade and vacation. We can take vacation and enjoy the scenery and the good food and people. Other than that, we have no more business in Middle East. Can you imagine the pressure Trump administration is probably feeling from, what do we call the
military
weapon
industrial complex?
Thank you. Military. It can be whatever it takes. Back to Nick Fuentes. Oh no! Right now, U.S. is doing everything they can to not let Israel achieve its objective. All of this is to stop the end game or end goal of Israel. Now, the difference is, unlike Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, you name them, any of them, Israel and Bibi and IDF have more than 90 million Iranians behind them, inside and outside of Iran.
Let's switch real quick in closing here to the news today that a American journalist was kidnapped in Baghdad. Have you seen the footage of that?
I have heard, but I have not dig into information.
Well, I'll pull the audio but they're in the distance. You can see she's being, I think it's a female, grabbed and shoved in a car. American journalist.
Wait, can you go back for, I'm sorry, can you go back to the beginning of the clip, please?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Here's where she's being grabbed, right there on the street, shoved in the car.
She was set up.
Was she standing there waiting for somebody?
Look, go back and watch. The other guy, as the other guy walks toward her, she doesn't even react. Her body language gets ready to say hi or so. Look. Very natural until she's grabbed. That's when she reacts. And again, being a journalist in that area, a lot of time the trap is they set up an interview with a name for you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really have so many ways of confirming, so you take a risk of showing up. But her body language tells me that it was kind of like she's expecting to be picked up or be taken for an interview or something. I don't know. That's why I said go back. Her reaction wasn't, she was caught off guard when two guys grabbed her. That's when her body language changed to, uh-oh.
Do you anticipate seeing more of this kind of thing in the Middle East and around the world?
Yes. Yes. And I mean, we already had warning out for all journalists, of course, to be careful. But then I believe it was our own Department of Homeland Security that put out a warning for Iraq and Kuwait, for all Americans of any rank, any position, just even, nobody's. Stay inside, don't go anywhere, don't do anything,
Look at that headline from the New York Post. American journalist Shelley Kittleson reported kidnapped by Iran-backed group in Baghdad.
I'm trying to be sensitive to the matter, but I mean, what were you thinking? In Iraq, in Baghdad? No, you don't step out. You don't do underground reporting in Baghdad, Iraq today. It's ran by the Shia-backed Irani groups.
And this is what she looks like. This is her.
I'm sorry, by the way, I said that wrong. It is backed by Iran. It is filled with Iranian-backed Shia groups. I pray for her, and I'll look and see if I can dig any information out, but this is where you cross the line from bravery to curiosity.
All right, Annie Cyrus, how's the new book doing, by the way? I have the new book right here. How's the new book doing? The Architecture of Jihad.
It is doing very good, to my surprise, I guess, but let's put it this way. The signed copies the orders are coming in that my postman, he actually gave me a United States Postal Office basket. It's like, just put them in here so I can pick it up with the box and go.
Because you're giving him so much.
He will, every day he comes to pick up his, like, got a box or something. I can't carry all of this to my thing. So I told him, like, just come into the driveway. Now he has my authorization to come into the driveway. I'm looking at it. He gave me one of those white containers. It's like, just put them all in here. So it's doing very good.
Good.
Especially on the signed copy parts. I'm grateful that people are placing orders.
Good. We're glad to hear that. Absolutely. LiveUpToFreedom.com and LiveUpToFreedom.substack.com. Annie Cyrus checking in tonight. By the way, you did show us this. Did we show that picture yet?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Covered so much tonight. It's hard to keep up with it all. All right. Keep us posted, Annie, will you?
Will do.
Live Up to Freedom. Yeah.
Safe.
Yeah, you too, my friend. LiveUpToFreedom.com and LiveUpToFreedom.substack.com. We'll be right back.
About 30 years ago, I had the opportunity to go into the Amazon rainforest and study their medicinal treasures, and the one that really captured my imagination was cat's claw. After all the discussions and interviews with the locals, I went back to the lab and I found that it was the most potent inhibitor of a switch called NF-kappa B. NF-kappa B is normally dormant, and with oxidative stress, it migrates to the nucleus and it regulates thousands of genes involved in inflammation, turning some on, turning some off. And if you suppress NF-kappa B, keep it inactive, which is what cat's claw does, then you're able to temper down all of that stress on the body. So cat's claw, I've been using it ever since. So the scientist actually takes his own medicine.
Joining me now to talk about how to age well. That's a topic I'm increasingly interested in. I wonder why. Joining me now is Dr. Lana. Hello, Dr. Lana.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hello.
I hear you had a great conversation this afternoon with my wife. What were you guys chatting up about?
We are we are, we became dear friends a couple of years ago, and we are talking about just a few things to take. You don't need all these supplements and all these multivitamins and everything, but just a few things to take that your body needs. So we're
like
going to
my
be talking
Numi, my
about
Gatatana, and my Bella Grace, those three.
Exactly. And we're going to be talking about something else in a week or two here, but you do not need a lot of things. But if you're ripping and sipping that Bella Grace, you are getting those.
Okay, I'm going to start using that one, Logan. That's a good one. Ripping and sipping. That's a good one.
We say just rip and sip. And
we're going to steal that one, Logan.
Yes, my dear friend there, I said initially when I was talking to Dr. Mark Miller at Bella Grace a few years ago, when I started taking it, and I said, well, how do you take it? And it was just the rip and sip. So I don't have one in front of it. Rip and sip, and it's very easy. You could take it everywhere, and you're getting those antioxidants in your brain, and you're getting the world's highest quality collagen in your body. And the cat's paw reduces inflammation. And then the other couple of things, is the phytoplankton, God's nutrition. You can give it to every family member every single day, including your dogs and cats and animals. And the glutathione, because we literally cannot take a breath and cannot breathe without glutathione. And Melissa and I were talking about something else, because I think when people get to know me, I use very, very few supplements in my practice, in my own home. I think people think, because I'm a naturopathic doctor, there's 72 bottles of vitamins and all these supplements. That is not true. Most of them are very expensive waste in your body. And, you hear people say you're urinating your wallet away, because most vitamins and supplements aren't even bioavailable. They're not getting absorbed, and everybody's trying to look younger, feel younger, be leaner, and age well. No one wants to age like our parents and grandparents. We want to live to be well over 100 with full cognitive function, full physical function, and we do not want to be a burden to our adult children.
Oh, I do. I do.
No
I want to be a
that.
huge burden to my kids. I'm going to be payback and a huge burden.
I think we need Melissa in here now.
Right, Logan? I'm going to be a huge burden to all three of you kids. Some payback.
Logan, your dad's moving in with your mom, by the way.
That's right. Tell him I'm moving in, Logan. He's like, I have to deal with him every day in the control room. He's not living at my house. No.
Yes,
I do not want to be a burden. I agree.
No.
I do not want to be a burden to anybody. I want my independence, right?
That's the word.
I want my independence. All right. I want to go to a couple news stories. What'd you say, Logan? I don't want to be a burden on anyone, but I do need some more dependence. Is that what you're saying? I want to be independent. That's, what? That sounds like a song from the elf from The Year Without a Santa Claus. No, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We're both going to be independent together. Maybe you could find that little clip, Logan. Isn't that what Rudolph and the guy that wanted to be the dentist, and he say we can be independent together, and they went off on a little journey. I wonder how many of the listeners tonight even know what I'm talking about. Do you, Dr. Lana?
Absolutely.
Do you really?
Anybody over 50.
Okay.
Which we are. Well, anybody, I think, over 50. I'm not a baby boomer. I mean, I just made it not being a baby boomer. I'm almost a baby boomer. Baby boomer, I can't even say it, but I'm not. But yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. The little elf and the dentist going off in the land of misfit toys and all that.
Yes.
And none of us want to be misfit toys as we get older. And seriously, it's very, very sad and expensive to age poorly.
Yep.
There's ways to age well.
Yep. There are ways to age well, which brings me, I don't know if Logan's going to find my We Can Be Independent Together clip fast enough. I probably could find it quicker. Sometimes I find these clips quicker than the boys in the control room, but Rudolph and the Little Elf, Logan, see if you can find it for those who don't know what we're talking about. But for top news stories today, I found one here real quick. Short bursts of exercise linked to lower risk of major diseases. Short bursts of exercise linked to lower risk of major diseases. Even brief, vigorous activity like quick walks or stair climbing correlates with reduced chances of several serious conditions, offering an accessible way for many to improve health. So even just 10, 15 minutes of walking a day, right?
Absolutely. I was so blessed to work with one of the foremost trainers in the country. He trained Olympians, trained NFL athletes, Mr. and Mrs. Olympia. He's in his late 70s, just an incredible human being. And he says just simple things. First of all, walk, walk, walk. But you're right. And it depends on your mobility, everyone. But if you can still do jumping jacks, I'm serious. Do jumping jacks for 60 seconds and then walk in place for 30 seconds. Do jumping jacks for 60 seconds, walk in place for 30 seconds. Simple things like that you can do in your house while you're watching Brannon on TV, right? Or on your computer. In all seriousness, walk up the stairs backwards. If you have stairs in your home or in your apartment or wherever you live, hold on to the railing. You have to be safe. But he always teaches, Bill, he teaches walk up backwards. It uses different muscle groups. Walk around your house, get a broomstick, go get an inexpensive broom at the dollar store, take the broom off. So you've got a broomstick, lay it across the back of your neck, across your shoulders, so you don't have weight on it, and hold on to each side and walk around your house like that, honestly, or walk up and down the hall. It forces you to have good posture and to use different muscle groups.
Isn't that
he's an exercise physiologist. I'm not, but simply moving the body. And everyone, I've had loads of cancer patients and cardiovascular patients in my practice for nearly 2 decades, thousands and thousands of patients. And even, the top cardiologists and oncologists will tell you, move your body, move your body, move your body.
Move.
Walk,
Gotta
walk,
keep moving.
walk. Rebounding is great too.
I told you I'd find it.
Hey, what do you say we both be independent together, huh?
All right, I told you I'd find it before you did, Logan. Why is that? Why do I always find stuff quicker than you boys? Oh, you had it already, he says. Really? Oh, you just weren't going to interrupt Lana. You're such a polite young boy. I wonder who you learned that from. All right, let's go to I don't believe it, Logan. I don't believe you had it. No, show it on the big screen.
What do you say we both be independent
that's your
together,
version?
huh?
All right, so we did find the same file. All right, well, all right, you get credit. All right, there you go. Good job. Let's see. I like how we work pop culture into our interviews here at Worldview Tube. I have a lot of fun with that.
It's great.
Yeah.
Rudolph.
Absolutely. One of my favorites. My daughter asked me last October, she's like, how many times have you already watched The Year Without a Santa Claus? It was only October. I said, about 3 times already by October. I don't know. I remember watching it when it first aired on TV the first time back in like 73, 74, whenever it was. But anyway.
It's good humor. That's healthy too.
The lines in there are a lot of lines
relax.
in there that go right over the kids' heads, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's another one I found. Simple non-drug therapies outperform medications for knee. What is a knee? How do you say this? Arthritis pain. Arthritis pain.
Oh, absolutely. You have arthritis in your knees.
Mm-hmm.
You have arthritis, arthritis.
No,
so that means you've got
osteoarthritis. That's how you say it. Sorry. Took my phonics a minute. I'm addicted to phonics.
Perfect.
Simple non-drug therapies outperform medications for knee osteoarthritis pain. A large analysis of nearly 10,000 patients found that knee braces, hydrotherapy, and exercise provide better symptom relief and mobility improvements than drugs alone. Of course, most of your doctors aren't going to tell you that because they make money, I'm sure, by selling you drugs versus, hey, go to Walgreens and get a brace. Or, hey, get in the pool and swim.
Honestly, get some of the things that you can do. And we are going to be talking about pain management in a couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about lean muscle mass. We're going to be talking about keeping your stomach flat, keeping your skin tight. You and Melissa, you'll have a cup of coffee later, and you're going to be all excited. But
well, she already told me. She said,
things.
I asked you you guys talked for like an hour or something. Like, what were you guys talking about? She
said, in between
she was
patients,
talking about how to keep your stomach flat, among other things. Yeah, she told me some of that. And something
totally
about
natural
protein and how we're all overeating. We're all overeating. We're all eating too much.
Absolutely. And there's a safe way, like you just said, to help reduce some pain, to stay independent. You're talking about knee pain, hip pain, joint pain. Your body, number one, we do not make this up, Brandon. Your body needs glutathione to function. This will also help your collagen production. This helps your respiration and your breathing and your moving as you're exercising. You've got to have your respiratory system working very well. And that this is like air in a bottle. And glutathione performs 400 functions in the body. And you get that mitochondria, the powerhouse of your cell, working very well, functioning like a well-oiled machine that can send messaging out. That also, we've had people say, no medical claims, that we've had people say that their knees feel better, or they were sore here and they feel better, or they have more energy. That's because the glutathione's getting in and fueling the mitochondria. And the gaditana does the same thing. It goes in and fuels the mitochondria, but this is literally getting God's food in your cells. And when your cells are functioning better, they can message better and also help manage pain. And we're not saying these are pain management supplements. And we are going to talk about protein a lot over the next weeks, because there's good protein and bad protein, and some can help manage pain or modulate pain. One of the things you can do, everyone, is just stretch. When you get up in the morning, sit down, preferably on, a flat floor, and try to lean over your knees gently, but as far as you can go. Stretch out, your right leg, bend in your left leg, and just stretch over it, and then reverse it. And I'm getting this from Bill, my amazing professional trainer that's just a wealth of information. And so then you stick out your other leg, your left leg, and you pull your right leg in, and you just stretch over it. Stand up and try to put your palms, keeping your spine straight, and bend over. Try to put your palms on the ground. You would not believe how many people cannot bend over and even get near the ground or touch their fingertips on the ground, let alone put their palms on the ground. Make sure you're hydrated with good, clean water. People are dehydrated. That's painful. It hurts your joints, everyone, to be dehydrated. So if you just keep your few supplements, you're ripping and sipping your Bella Grace, you're swishing 2-3 times a day with your glutathione, with Numi, and you're taking a scoop of your phytoplankton, right there, you're helping your cells function, and we're going to help you with protein utilization as well. But stay hydrated, keep moving. And I'll tell you, one of the worst things you can do for inflammation and pain is eat sugar. I know we all love it. It's Easter, the resurrection of our Lord. Thank God above, our Savior. And this is a huge week. It is Holy Week. I know comes sugar time right on Sunday with the beautiful feast of the resurrection of Jesus. So yes, you're going to enjoy some desserts and Easter chocolate and all of that good stuff. But just do it on holidays and keep the sugar, the added sugar. I'm not talking about fruit. God made fruit. Eat an apple, eat pears, eat watermelon, eat fruit, but don't have added sugar. And that includes like a lot of honey or molasses, junk food. All the sugar that's in our drinks, do not have sugar, because that inflames your body and inflames your joints. So I'll help you a lot
right
with
now,
aging
Dr.
well.
Lana, anything that I can do to stop inflammation, because I got the herniated C6 and C7. I'm much better. I do have a big old ice pack behind me. And this is what I sleep with, this big old ice pack. And I have it on my neck most of the time. Dolly sleeps in between Melissa and I at night. And there are times when I decide at night, after sleeping on that for an hour, I've had enough, and I put it to the side. Dolly, it ends up touching Dolly, and Dolly gets very irritated by this cold ice pack. And so does the wife. She's like, will you get your ice pack off me? So anyway, they're all eager for me to get rid of my ice pack, but I'm doing anything I can. And Melissa's helping with foods that decrease inflammation. So this is so important for people that have knee pain, joint pain, herniated disc, whatever. Do whatever I'm not a doctor, but look at how well you guys have trained me. Do whatever you can to decrease that inflammation, right?
Absolutely get rid of the added sugar. Stay hydrated. Water's your number one beverage. Water. And yes, if you love your coffee, I love coffee. Get your organic coffee, tea, that's fine, but don't have added sugar in your drinks. And I'll tell you what else drives inflammation is dairy. I know.
Well, no, that's interesting. You said that because Melissa asked me, would you like some cheese? And I said, no, I'm cutting out as much cheese as possible because it causes inflammation.
It's inflammatory. It blows up your joints. It is so inflammatory, and it's inflammatory to your gut. Dairy, and I know we all, years and years and years ago, I mean, I had irritable bowel syndrome and acid reflux. And one of the first, the doctors couldn't help me. One of the reasons why I went back and got my doctorate. But dairy is so inflammatory, and dairy is any product
hearing that Logan?
Is made from the liquid of a cow, a sheep, a camel, a goat. So milk from cow's milk, camel, sheep, goat's milk, the cheese, the butter, the ghee, the coffee creamers, the ice cream, the yogurt, get it out of
Logan,
your diet.
You're gonna have to stop drinking all that camel's milk. I've told you that last week. Stop drinking all that camel's milk. No wonder you got digestive issues. You do quite a bit of dairy, don't you, big boy?
It's terrible for irritable bowel syndrome and acid reflux and Crohn's and colitis. But you cannot have a bite of dairy. Get rid of the added sugar. The other thing too is a lot of flour. Now I'm not talking. You have a treat now and then, or
so we're not doing that.
Gluten free. That's amazing. If you can be gluten-free and get rid of the dairy and added sugar. And I know if it's your birthday, enjoy. Easter, what a huge celebration. Enjoy, have a lovely meal. And I promise you, the more of those inflammatory foods that you cut out, when you do eat them, now we're talking Easter, and then when it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or your birthday or an anniversary, and you do have a big piece of cake, or you do have a big bite of cheesecake, or, all of that.
Cheesecake. I hate cheesecake. Why would you bring that up?
Well, good.
Oh, I hate cheesecake.
No more. But if you have all of those desserts after you've removed them, you will feel it. A lot of people get a headache and they're just exhausted, and they get moody and irritable innocently. And you know what reduces? We're going to talk about something very new and exciting over the next weeks. But you know what helps reduce and balance appetite is the phytoplankton, because it's getting nutrition. It really pulls away that urge to have junk food.
It sure does.
And
100%.
It's excellent for your GI tract.
Melissa and I both noticed when we take the Gatatana, we started on it, all of a sudden you don't have the craving for junk food. You don't.
No.
You were mentioning there a while ago, you need to do all these exercises and with your left arm, your right arm, your leg. I thought you were talking about the hokey pokey there for a minute, Logan, do you know what the hokey pokey is? How do you know what the hokey pokey is? Because I'm alive, he says. I didn't. Where does your generation know the hokey pokey from? We used to go to the skating rink, and they would, in the 80s, and they would play the hokey pokey. Huh.
And I'm just talking, sit on the floor if you can, and bend over one leg, and then bend over the other leg, bend over both legs. And if you can, stand up straight, try to bend over, touch the floor. Every day, just try to stretch naturally and get walking. If you can get a rebounder, rebounding is amazing. It's very good for your cellular health.
Dr. Lana says being a street walker is good for your health. That's the headline tonight, Logan.
Boy, are you going to get emails.
Let's see what else we got. What else do we have? Any other news, health stories? What's with this whole COVID thing? Now we got something COVID bouncing around called cicada. I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. I think this is people who have had the shot and are still, having problems from the shot, attacking their immune system. I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor, but I'm not buying it. Are you?
You're incredibly intelligent, Brandon. Seriously. And no,
why doesn't
I'm
we
not
have her on again?
it.
Oh, yes. I just remembered why. What were you saying?
Besides Brandon being extremely intelligent. But truly, and that is true, by the way,
You're
but
kind.
the absolute fact, very, very true. But Everyone, remember, I've said this even to my patients years ago, after I started, studying this in March of 2020, when this virus went, around the world, as I should, because that's my, profession. But they are going to come out with another one and another one and another one. It's going to have a new name or new initials, H1N1, A, B, COVID. There's going to be new names, new initials. And truly, honestly, this is a fact. The pharmaceutical companies, and make no mistake, sometimes medicine will save your life. Absolutely. I was trained by medical doctors. We're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. However, you're all warriors. You are all critical thinkers. You watch Brannon, and one of the things the pharmaceutical companies do is they name, new drugs for literally new diseases, and they'll see how it sounds, Januvia or Keytruda. And I'm naming some drugs, not to say good, bad, and different, but what you just said is so on point with the COVID. It's just like the drugs. They're going to come out with more and more, and you need some new diseases and new conditions to make the new drugs. Well, the same with COVID. Now, they scared everybody with the virus, and now everybody had to get the vaccine, and then you had to get the second vaccine, and then you had to get a booster. Well, now that's kind of died down. So they need something new. They need, this variant of the virus or this type of COVID. The common cold is a coronavirus. And I tell people one of the things that you should do for your family is exactly what we talk about, Brannon. Get that Bella Grace elixir, get that Numi glutathione every day in your body, take your phytoplankton, truly. And we're going to talk about something else in the coming weeks. And I'm telling you, if you just have those few things, drink water, stay lean, move your body, eat whole foods, I'll help you with all of that. That is how you're going to combat all this. And then, of course, you all know this. If they would have educated, especially developed nations where we could easily do this, I know that COVID went through underdeveloped countries, very, very sad. But if everybody was taking vitamin D, and if everybody was taking glutathione, and if everybody was taking ivermectin, I'm telling you, vitamin D, ivermectin, glutathione. If everybody had this swish and a good vitamin D drops and ivermectin, COVID would not be an issue because it's low D. COVID is low vitamin D. Those people had low vitamin D. They had low glutathione levels, and you needed ivermectin to kill off all the viruses, variants, and there you go, parasites and everything. If people had those three things, and they said, what, with ivermectin alone, when they did the British Ivermectin Recommendation Development Study, I think it was in the spring of 2021 or 2022, they would have saved like over 875,000 lives if people would have just taken ivermectin. And you add glutathione and a good vitamin D, wow. I can help you with your medicine cabinet at home, medicine cabinet, I say, which is natural. And, it's of God. God made glutathione. God made the Gatatana. And you need a few things for your family.
Well, we're looking forward to the project you and Melissa are working on and rolling that all out. In the meantime, folks, please go to, there you go. Thank you, Logan. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors. You'll find the glutathione there, the Numi, the Bella Grace. It's all there, my friends, for you to take. Numi, Gatatana, Bella Grace, the three things that we do each and every day. By the way, Dr. Lana, for a while, for about a week, there was the pet product wasn't on the website. They had sold out.
Sold out.
But it's back
It's
now,
back.
I guess, right?
Yes, it's back. Everyone loves the pet phytoplankton for their dogs and their cats. I message, I work with the owner of the company every day, and I messaged him right away when Melissa messaged me, and he said, this is so popular. People love it for their dogs and their cats. We sold out. He goes, don't worry, Lana, it's coming right back. Tell Melissa and Brandon it's coming right back.
Good, because we have people who put their pets on it, and their pets go from acting like they're dying, have no energy, 10, 12,
to puppies.
11. Yeah, exactly. Running around acting like puppies again. Yep.
It's great for their hips. It's great for their coat. It's great for their teeth. It's great for their digestion. It's fantastic for dogs and cats.
It's amazing the amount of junk it eats off your dog's teeth, the phytoplankton.
It does. It's a natural, when that phytoplankton hits water or liquid, it is a natural prebiotic, everyone. It's really, and God made it. You know, Dave Hunter just dried it. It's really an extraordinary
And no
product,
additives,
really.
no additives.
Nothing is in it. It's the phytoplankton grown in a pristine environment with purified, real ocean water. So it's God's phytoplankton, and Dave Hunter and his partner figured out how to dry it and put it in jars for us. It's the first food on the planet. You can give this to every single family member every day, no matter their age.
Well, and we do. worldviewtube.com/sponsors and inspiredbywellness.com is her website. inspiredbywellness.com. All right. Thank you, Dr. Lana. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. Have a blessed Easter, everyone.
You too,
See
my
you next
friend.
time.
Hey, what do you say we both be independent together, huh?
There we go. All right. That's our broadcast for tonight, Logan. Great broadcast, I think. Yep. Roll the music. Let's call it a night. If you appreciate all we're doing here, folks, we appreciate your sponsorship by going to worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Yes, we got to get the dolly cam going. A couple people have asked, where's the dolly cam? We got to get it going again. Logan had to take it with us when we went somewhere. We got to put that back. We need our dolly cam back. That's on his checklist of things to do. But Dolly is in the building. She's good. Thanks for asking. Hope you're doing good. We sure appreciate your watching. Until next time, I'm Brandon House. May God save America. Take care.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brandon House.